Can you hear me now? Anybody?
That's good.
Alright, good. So yeah, Lewis loves Anna, Anna doesn't love Lewis, Kristen knows, Lewis doesn't. You better change quick, Kristen said. You'll miss the 8 o'clock bus across the park. I don't feel like changing. The evenings have been cool enough anyway. You just want Anna to see you in your tie. She was smiling. I have to leave now or I'll be late. I got up to leave. When I was near the door, the water turned off and I heard Kristen say my name. Yeah? I said from the hall. I'm sorry I gave you trouble. It's all right. I don't want to see you get hurt. I won't, I said. I closed the door, and when I was halfway down the stairs on my way to the street, I heard the lock click behind me. By the time I was in the bus, it was late, maybe 10 or 11 o'clock. I was sitting in the middle of the bus alone, except for 2 elderly women sitting near the front. And one of the women had this loud and ridiculous raspy voice, and she was complaining incessantly about her back. "Aw, geez, honey," she said to the other woman. "We're gonna have to take a cab when we get off. I just can't take it." "Oh, foo," her little friend said. Her voice was like frail paper. She put her hand into her purse and took out a Ziploc bag full of various pills all jumbled up together. "I have aspirin in here." "Oh, I don't want one of your pills, Mill. I don't know how the hell you tell them apart. You got them all mixed up in that little bag." "Shh, I just look at the colors." Then the bus took off from the last stop before we cut through the park. And when we went through the first line of trees, as always, all of the lights went off inside the bus so that all that we could see were the high stone walls that separated the 85th Street transverse from the Great Lawn and the Jacqueline Onassis Reservoir. "It's too dark, Mill. How the hell you think you're gonna find it now?" "Shh. In the dark I know them by their shapes." And I could hear the little pills prickling together just slightly over the bus engine as Mill ran her fingers over them trying to find the aspirin. "Ah," she said, and the prickling sound stopped. "Here it is." I heard a dry gulp and a raspy thanks, and then everything in the bus was quiet. And the rest of the way through the park, I thought of Anna. She was sitting next to me, and with the high stone walls running by outside, I could touch the top of her leg, and then she would slide in closer to me so I could feel her shoulder sharper into my side. And it wasn't the accepting way that her body moved when we were watching TV and I would put my arm around her. It was a feline pulse that went through her body and pulled her closer, her wanting every part of her that she could manage against me with a hard but comforting pressure. And then just when I could see the lights from the Upper West Side shops, the woman with the raspy voice spoke, but her voice was slower and deeper. "Ah, this ain't aspirin, Mill. This is much better than aspirin." To get to Anna's, I had to pass through the square at the 72nd Street station where they sold nuts and Belgian waffles from carts. When the food carts were there, the entire square smelled like caramel and hot coffee. The big bulb lights that lit up the station in the square reached down to the corner of Anna's block, but when I turned left down the corner onto her street, the buildings blocked the light and the smell of the square was gone. And so at this point in the story, he runs into a homeless guy who's wearing all of his clothes, and he finds out later that Anna doesn't want anything to do with him, and she put all of his stuff out on a box, and it all got stolen, except for a growler, which is a big gallon-sized glass container that holds beer. By the time I brought the growler all the way back to the 4th-story landing of Kristen's apartment, I was sweating all the way through. I had loosened my tie and rolled up the sleeves of my dress shirt. I tried the door, but it was locked, and when I got it open, there were no lights on inside. "Kristen?" I said. Nothing. I turned the lights on and set the growler down on the counter. I checked my phone, but there was nothing from it. I decided to check the roof, and I locked the apartment back up. The alarm wires in the door that kept people from going up there had been cut again, and the door was ajar. From even the little crack in the door, I could feel a faint and welcome breeze. Then I heard Kristen's voice and could tell she was crying, so I stopped on the stairs. She must have been talking on the phone because hers was the only voice. I'm not accusing you of anything, Grant." There was another burst of tears. "But I take it back, I was only asking. I get worried, that's all." I shut the door, feeling guilty for listening. I went down and reopened the apartment and went to the sink. While the water ran and started to get hot, I popped the latch on the growler and spilled the cooked beer into the sink, and the hot old smell filled the apartment. Then I put hot water and soap inside the growler and ran the water until suds bubbled out of the mouth. I poured the soapy water and then ran more hot water in over and over until all of the suds were gone and the inside of the growler smelled like hot water, glass, and soap. I latched the lid again. Before I left the apartment, I threw my tie and my dress shirt that I had worn for Anna onto the couch. In just my t-shirt, I walked back out into the hot night. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew that I had to get the growler filled with something. Thanks, guys.